MTN Sports, this is Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome into the Bobcat Insider. I'm Grace Lawrence here with Keaton Galogli. Keaton, a tale of two different weeks. The women going 0-2 on the road, the men heating up the brick going 2-0. What did you see from the men's side?
Well, for the men, big, physical, strong, responsive weekend, which was very exciting. And this was one of those weeks I feel like you really sense in the Big Sky where things can change drastically. And for the women to go 0-2 this week was tough against Northern Arizona and Northern Colorado, but a lot of that is due to injury. Mara Dykstra was unavailable, Lindsey Hine was unavailable, of course, Deaton's been out. So for the Cats in that front court, I mean, they're decimated right now.
Definitely. I'm sure the women are going to enjoy this week of rest leading up to Cat Grizz. The men, on the other hand, 2-0. You know, it felt like a March game that Saturday against Northern Colorado. Very physical. I could hear it. I was right there on the sideline. I could hear the chirps. I could hear the hits. What did you see from the men's side when it came to that Northern Colorado game?
They just rose to the occasion, and they really got challenged by Coach Logie this week in practice, coming off that near 30-point loss at South Dakota State to then bounce back and win by almost 30 against Northern Arizona. That type of response is really difficult. I mean, you know, Grace, you've been in practice like this before. That is hard to take, that type of coaching.
Definitely. And, you know, St. Thomas shined. You know, he's going to give Dylan Jones a run for his money for that player of the year when it comes down to that at the end of the season. But, you know, Brian Garacki did a really good job containing him. The whole team did. You know, they really stepped up defensively.
No doubt. And Garacki, 25 points. It was kind of a quiet and chill 25 points. It was very representative of his personality.
Exactly. Just like him. Cool, calm, and collected.
No doubt. Well, we're going to talk about that with Coach Logie, and we're talking with head coach Binford as well in a little bit. But first, we're taking a break, and when we get back, we'll dive into this 2-0 weekend with the men with head coach Matt Logie on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
We're back on the Bobcat Insider. I'm Keaton Galogli along with head coach Matt Logie. Coach, how we doing coming off a 2-0 week?
It was a great week to be in the brick. Yeah, it was a really great response from our guys, and really proud of what we were able to put on the floor this last weekend. Yeah,
the response I feel like is key. You know, you go out to Brookings, you have that disappointing and frankly lopsided loss, and then you come right back and you dominate Northern Arizona at home. You talked a lot about this week challenging the guys in practice this week. What was that like? What was the tenor of practice leading into that Northern Arizona game?
Well, we just got recommitted to the defensive end of the floor, and you know, our staff works really hard to put a game plan together, and in addition to that, you know, we're trying to instill principles that are going to carry over from game to game and be consistent with what we do on the floor. And so it's just about challenging our guys to execute those principles and do it together and trust that their teammates are going to do the same.
So you felt like it was the execution that you needed here? I mean, how much X's and O's did you change, or did you just want more hustle and energy out of the guys?
No, it was just more about the commitment to, you know, the intensity level and then the discipline of the decisions you have to make on defense. You know, that's where the game plan comes into play, and I thought this last weekend our guys just really locked into the scouting reports and were able to execute at a high level.
Yeah, no doubt. And only gave up the 50 points against Northern Arizona, which was the season low for them. And then you had Northern Colorado coming in on Saturday, and their team with great offense. They've got one of the best players in the conference in St. Thomas, who could be player of the year in the Big Sky. I mean, he's as good as Weber State's Dylan Jones. But how'd you guys feel like you performed against St. Thomas in that Northern Colorado game?
Yeah, you know, I think going into that game, both St. Thomas and their point guard, Jerron, really were identified as the guys that are the key drivers for their offense. And so we wanted to make them uncomfortable. And, you know, a guy like St. Thomas is going to get his shots up. He's a very aggressive scorer. He can do it at all three levels of the floor. And so it was really about trying to limit their efficiency and lower their percentages. And both those guys combined were 40% from the field, which is lower than normal. And I thought that was key to our victory.
Yeah, and how did you guys go about game planning for St. Thomas? It did look like Brian Garacki was on him a lot. Was that the case?
Yeah, just by position fit, that's kind of a natural matchup. You know, I thought one of the keys for our defense was our ball screen coverage and, you know, trying to force Thomas to do some things outside of his comfort zone. He's got a couple pet moves that he likes to work into the flow of the game, and I thought our guys did a good job of recognizing you know, his tendencies and trying to force him into kind of secondary and third style moves.
I thought one of the key plays in this game was with about 4 minutes left in the second half. Rob Ford went in for a drive, missed a layup when he got hit. Chika Nduka got the rebound, was kind of stumbling over Rob, who was on the ground, falling over. He got the pass off to Garacki in the left wing. It was a low pass because, again, he was falling, but Garacki picks it up off his shoe tops, knocks down that three, and it just felt like that was one of those really key plays. And, you know, Chika Chika Nduka, if you look at his stat line in this game, nothing really jumps out, but I thought watching him play, he really made an impact in this game. What did you see from Chika this week?
Yeah, Chika's been a guy all year long that has made a big difference for us off the bench with his passion, his intensity, his effort, the ability to get like that play, a second chance, a second chance opportunity, and then have the wherewithal, with everything that was going on at the time to keep his head up and find the open shooter on the perimeter. That was key to stretching our lead out and giving us some breathing room down the stretch.
Right, and for Garacki too, I mean, it's tough when you get a pass that low, and it's not like, Nduka was making a perfect pass because he was getting tripped, but for him to pick that up in that moment, he just seems so cool, calm, and collected in moments like that. Where does that come from? I mean, you've been coaching him for a couple of years. Has he always been like that?
Yeah, I think naturally he has a pretty cool demeanor. He puts the work in and trusts that work will come out, and so moments aren't too big for him. And then just naturally he's got a demeanor that's pretty cool, calm, and collected. So it comes in handy in times like that.
No doubt. Brandon Walker, total beast this weekend, shooting over 60% over his last 4 or 5 games right now. It does seem like he's evolving a little bit offensively. What are you seeing from him? Is he showing off some more moves right now?
Well, he's got a deep bag, for a guy that is his size with the defenders that he has, defending him. He really puts them in tough positions because of his ability to handle the basketball, how quick his feet are, and then he's powerful down low. And so I think what Brandon has started to see over the last few weeks is just kind of really where his bread is buttered and how to get to his spots and put a lot of pressure on the defense. He's getting to the free throw line on a consistent basis now and shooting those well. And so that's been really important for our team to balance our offensive attack.
Right, and he was getting to the free throw line while making his shots. He had 4, 5, and 1s in this game, which was pretty impressive. Now, this was an incredibly physical game. Still, both teams shot over 50% in this contest. They weren't calling a lot, but how do you feel like your team stood up in just a game and an environment like this, where it felt like a back alley brawl on Saturday?
Yeah, no, I was really proud of our guys. That's one of the areas that we've been trying to address is just kind of winning those toughness plays and those 50-50 balls and all the little possessions during the course of a game add up over time. And when you're playing a team as hot as Northern Colorado was coming in, it certainly had the feel of a game in March, and that was great for our guys to pull through.
Right, Northern Colorado had come in winning 5 straight. They had come off an overtime win in Missoula, and that team from Missoula is coming over here now this week for that Saturday tip-off. It's a doubleheader with the women playing at 2 and the men playing at 7 o'clock. Coach, your first Cat Grizz. You ready for this? Have you been a part of any major rivalries that could get even close to this?
The closest thing that I've experienced was in my playing days at Lehigh. Lehigh and Lafayette are 15 miles apart and have, I think, the longest football rivalry in the country. So that's a big deal in the community out there. But I don't think anything really holds a candle to Cat Grizz. The people of this state are so passionate about who they support, and it means a lot to everybody. And so we're excited for that opportunity to represent MSU and do it in the brick here.
Yeah, how are you getting ready for this? You're going to have a lot of guys playing in their first Cat Grizz. Thankfully, the first game here is at home, but how are you trying to get these guys ready mentally, and are you having some of the guys who have been here the last couple of years talk to the other players to try to just describe what it's going to take in this game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think in situations like this, whether it's Cat Grizz or it's an important postseason game, one of the things that you've got to try to do is just continue to stick to your process that you normally do. I think a lot of times in pressurized situations, you fall to the level of your training, and so we just want to have a good work week. We want to be consistent with our process, consistent with our routine, and trust that preparation will come through when the lights are on. And certainly when you're playing in front of a sellout crowd and you got the Bobcat Nation behind you, the energy level will be high, the juices will be flowing, and that tends to bring out the best in guys. So I'm excited to see that. Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a fun weekend, and Bobcats right now are 3-1 in Big Sky play as they work through this 4-game homestand. Coach, appreciate the time today. Thanks a lot. Go Cats. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, Grace Lawrence is sitting down with head coach Tricia Binford on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence here with women's head coach Tricia Binford. Thanks for joining me once again. How does it feel? Yeah, how does it feel to be back home?
Feels great to be back home. It was, it was interesting, and Daniel, our director of operations, did an incredible job to maneuver ways to get us back home.
Yeah, such a hard road trip. How does it feel now to get a week of rest, a week of prep, considering also playing without Mara and Lindsay, only 9 active players this past week?
Yeah, we are getting a ton of experience for our freshman class, and it will be nice to have a full week here back in Bozeman in our own beds. And just kind of regrouping, even though we didn't get a split or didn't get a win on the road, that second game I felt like we played a lot more like us, so we're going to build off that.
Definitely. I mean, you get Caitlin back, but then you lose Mara and Lindsay this week. How hard is it to, manage that fluctuating roster?
You just got to take it as it comes, right? Control what you control. I feel like kids are ready. They're rising to the occasion. They're trying to step into some new roles. The loss of 2 posts at a time did tweak some things as far as how many posts we had in the rotation, and so we had to adjust that. I thought we did a much better job against Northern Colorado. We got our first minutes for Leia coming in Bobcat uniform, and she gave us really strong minutes there. So, hopefully we'll continue to grow our roster, but at this point, everybody is called upon, and we need everybody ready. That's the advantage of your practice situations. You win your championships in your practices, so you're ready when your name is called.
Definitely. Starting the road trip with that loss at NAU, what did you take away from that game?
We just weren't ourselves from the start. We take a lot of pride in our defense. We were super flat, didn't have a lot of great energy. They got hot. Once you hit a first 3 ball, the rim gets a lot bigger, and we just had to turn the page the next day, to be quite honest. It wasn't a great game for us, and credit NAU. They came out shooting the ball extremely well, and the next day we just went back to a lot of basic fundamentals. We focused a little bit less on Northern Colorado, a lot more on us, and just kind of our disruptive defensive principles. And I thought the energy to start for Northern Colorado came out a lot better for us. And now the next step is putting 2 halves together and getting a more consistent offense, to be quite honest.
Yeah, where was that switch kind of coming from to contain Northern Colorado so much better?
Yeah, it just goes back to your energy. You've got to understand this conference has great shooting teams. The last 2 games, the 3 ball has drastically hurt us. And so you got to stretch your defense. You got to get to the perimeter. We had small numbers in order to do that, and you're on the road, and so you got to create that energy like you can duplicate at your home. And for us, we're just going to have to continue understanding that every time we show up. You can't just step on the floor and not be ready. We've got to be ready to attack from the beginning.
A recurring theme with this team, though, definitely does seem that energy, that effort, never giving up, very present in the Northern Colorado game. Where does that stem from?
I think it stems from the identity of kids coming here. They know that this team is going to play both ends of the floor. We know that we're going to make teams work for the shots that they get, and then on the offense, we want to run off of the stops that we get. I think this team still hasn't even scratched the surface of what we're capable in the open court in transition. But we definitely, that's the identity of the things that we talk about in the pride that we talk about. We're going to be a 99% of the time man defensive team and take a lot of pride on getting those stops so we can get out and run.
Definitely. Getting into this week, it's Cat Grizz week. You've got dozens of these games under your belt, but what's your favorite part of, the rivalry game, the rivalry week?
Well, first of all, it's the best crowd of the year, and your community comes out to support. So you're going to take a lot of pride in representing your community and playing well for them, and also just the whiteout. When you think of the atmosphere and the brick and the energy and how electric it is, and I can tell you how many games have come down. They've been super exciting, and we know we're getting a very talented and hot Grizz program coming in this week, so we're going to have to be ready to go.
Yeah, they're coming off that win over NAU this past Saturday. So what have you seen from the Grizz this season that really stands out?
Well, they're very consistent offensively. I will tell you, similar to kind of Northern Arizona, those were 2 of the teams that put a lot of points on the board, and there's not one person that you can't check. So we're going to have to make sure we're hitting on all cylinders defensively. This is a team that you got to really keep their numbers down offensively, and defensively for them, we've got to find a way to put points on the board consistently as well. So I think they go through a lot of people, but they have a point guard that was freshman of the year last year. She's very good in a ball screen. You have Carmen G. Feller, who's an all-conference player, so there's a lot of pieces there, and it's Cat Grizz, so everything's off. You just gotta bring it, and you gotta be really consistent.
Definitely. When the spark for the defense really picks up, it's so noticeable. Where does the standard of the defense come from?
I was never born with a lot of height, Grace, so I guess it comes from a philosophy. I love to play defense, so you're going to recruit personalities towards what you want to coach. And, we love to guard, and I love kids getting after it. I think there's momentum plays off your defense. You've got one of the best in taking charges, and Maddie Jackson. That's a momentum kid for you. She's taken probably 1 to 2 a game. You've got Caitlin Lamardo out there that can disrupt and deflect and get her hands on anything. And then you go across the board with our team and our quickness. It starts with Natalie Picton, but for us, it's a group assignment. We protect each other. We take a lot of pride in protecting. We take a lot of we let our kids take some chances and have freedom of that, and we protect them. But I think those are the kind of energy things that can get your crowd going. A loose ball, a scramble. You never want to get outworked, and we're certainly not going to get outworked on our home court.
Definitely, you get them at home this first round. You guys play so well at home. How beneficial is that going to be?
Well, it's going to be huge. We're going to have to work our way back. We had a week that we didn't take care of business on the road, and so you got to focus one game at a time. Long season for this Big Sky race, and the next one on our agenda is the next. And you can't ever stay too much in the past or get in the future. You got to be right in the moment, and today we just got to get better today.
Definitely. And then Idaho State on Monday. What do you feel about, the Saturday, Monday type of schedule? I know it's got to be hard getting back on the road to play Idaho State on Monday.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's a super huge fan of Monday games, and, just not even it's a little bit out there, but everybody's got it on their schedule, and you're just going to have to find a way to be ready for it. It's turning the page again. You're coming off an emotional game off of your rivalry, and then we're going to get on the road and take care of business. But fortunately, we've played them one time already, so we'll be a little bit more familiar. And like I said, I don't think everybody's excited about Mondays, but it's part of the schedule. You got a lot of games that you got to fit in, and you've got to be ready.
The first time you played them a few weeks ago, Maddie obviously hitting that game winner. What do you expect in this rematch?
Yeah, this is always a physical game. We've got two teams that we both identify ourselves of really disruptive defensive teams, and I think a lot of it's going to come down to who's improving on the offensive end, to be quite honest.
Definitely. All right. Well, best of luck this week. It's a great week. It's rivalry week, and coming up after this, Keaton and I will be back to break down those upcoming games.
Get social with Bobcat fans and follow MTN Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back to the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence here with Keaton Galogli. And Keaton, Binford's right, coming into this rivalry game, Cat Grizz. The Grizz are hot, taking down NAU at NAU. Grad student Carmen G. Feller came back at a big performance, and Big Sky reigning freshman of the year, Mac Honig, as well. Two big performances. It's going to take a lot to contain them, something they're going to focus on this week. What do you think is going to be key in that game?
Bobcat defense. This is a Montana team that is second in the Big Sky in scoring, and Montana State's held their hat and hung their hat on that defense all year long, and this is going to be a major test. If they can slow them down, you're going to have a shot. But on the other side of that coin is you can't have these droughts offensively, and that's something Binford's been talking about all week.
Definitely, and she has dozens of these games under her belt. She loves getting them at home first. It's going to be good for the men, with a lot of them this being their first Cat Grizz, Logie's first Cat Grizz. What are you most excited for with this team, and a lot of them this being their first rivalry game?
I want to see how this thing carries over. I mean, they really proved something against Northern Colorado. I think maybe for casual fans, they would have thought, didn't Northern Colorado lose 20 games last year? And the answer is yes, and they lost a lot. But at the same time, they transferred in a ton. That St. Thomas kid was legit. That offense is legit. I think Northern Colorado on the men's side is going to be up there battling for a Big Sky title this year. And the Bobcats won that game consistently and comfortably, and I think in a sustainable way. I think that those wins this week for the men were sustainable, where they could replicate what they did.
I completely agree. And Brian Garacki is quiet, 25 points. Brandon Walker really finding his identity in the paint. It's going to take another big performance from those key players coming into this one.
Absolutely. Montana State's going to have to continue to commit on the defensive side, because if you're not committed on that defensive side, Montana can score with the best of them on that men's side as well. So defense, intensity, and we need that crowd to show up for the whiteout for the 2 o'clock tip-off for the women and the 7 o'clock tip-off for the men.
Yep, and you can watch that on your MTN channel. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.